What is good, Defenders Nation? This is the most LAFC podcast on earth. Welcome to episode 244 of Defenders of the Bank, coming to you halfway live from in front of the famous Scarf Wall in Lawndale, California. You know my voice. It's the Scarf, known by all kinds of different names and languages, thanks to my co-host directly to my left, J.R. Liebert. That's me. And of course, this guy right over here, right next to me from world famous Philomonster Studios in beautiful Burbank, California, proudly wearing not just his LAFC jacket, but his New York Knickerbockers t-shirt. Look out. It's a rare day when Philly can wear that proudly. I give you one Christian, Philemon.
Hello, Los Angeles. Hello, Major League Soccer fans. Hello to the millions.
And millions.
And hello to all you cheesesteak eating sons of guns out in Philadelphia. Boy, doesn't it suck to be y'all today? I would definitely say it does. Scarf, it was a very good day. And I might be a little too jovial due to the fact that LAFC ended the game in a tie, a game in which they probably should have lost in reality, but we're going to recap this. But something that hasn't happened in a very long time occurred. My fandom gets appreciated. The Knicks actually made it out of the first round of the NBA playoffs, beating the Cleveland Cavaliers 4-1. This is good stuff. But we're not a New York Knicks podcast. We're here to talk about LAFC, the black and gold. And growing up, I'm sure, Scarf, you heard of the term, take a chill pill. I always thought that was the dumbest thing to ever say to somebody. Sure, the word chill rhymes with pill, but boy, let me tell you, after that game, I am literally going to take a chill pill, literally from Chill, the company based out of Colorado. I have this 25 milligram CBD gummy, perfectly legal, FYI, and I'm going to take a chill pill because, good Lord, I told Panda and Juice and David Quiones and a couple of the other friends over at the Cuervos at the watch party today at Barney's Beanery in Burbank, my life expectancy has probably been reduced by the number of times we've watched LAFC take things down to the wire. If I ever keel over, it won't be peaceful sleeping in my bed at night. Might be poisoned by my wife. I don't know. That might be one aspect. But it would more than likely be cheering and going crazy over a sporting event. I have no doubt about it. Scarf, what a relief. I've never been so happy to celebrate a tie.
Yeah, man, this was, look, first of all, I got all the feels and the butterflies the first time John McCarthy touched the ball because Philadelphia sports fans greeted him as you would expect them to greet their favored son from, I believe it's Mayfair, Pennsylvania, raining down booze on one John McCarthy. That was fun. Nervous time as Kellyn Acosta went from villain to superhero very, very quickly. That was fun. And I mean, look, was it going to end any other way? The last 5 times these teams have met, it has been not decided in regulation. So, of course, this one not going to be decided in regulation, not going to be decided in the first leg. Not that any of these really can be, but an incredible match. Our first time in Philadelphia since 2019. We'll get to that in just a little bit. We want to remind everybody that we are sponsored by our good friends over at Flex Power Tools and flexpowertools.com. Please head on over to flexpowertools.com or on social media at Flex Power Tools NA for all of your power tool needs. Of course, they are not only the front of kit sponsor for the 2022 MLS Cup champion and soon to be 2023 CONCACAF Champions League champion Los Angeles Football Club, but they are the primary sponsor of Defenders of the Bank, the most LAFC podcast on earth. So we want to thank our good friends over at Flex, and we remind you that the Mauricio Facio Futsal Court fundraising effort is still underway. We are going to build that court for Mo in Southeast LA, and LAFC, along with the Mo Facio Futsal Court Foundation and the 3252, are partnering to build that futsal court in Mo's honor. The link to donate, LAFC.com/Mo-Facio. And again, I'm going to throw out a number, Philly. We talk about this on every single episode. Suggestions from Philly and the Scarf for what to donate. I got one suggestion for you. How about $11 today? Because when they put in number 11, the entire match changed. We're going to talk a whole lot about Timothy Tillman. Oh my goodness. So that's my suggestion is $11. If you're listening to this episode and you want to help fundraise for that field, Philly, you have any thoughts on, I don't know, when was the last time the Knicks made it out of the first round of the playoffs? What year was that? Maybe we
Look,
can donate.
what I'm concerned with mainly is the last time the Knicks were in the NBA Finals. And that would be 1999 when they lost to the San Antonio Spurs in a 5-game series. But back then, the Knicks were trash too. They somehow, as the 8th seed, clawed their way into an NBA final. The last time the Knicks were really good, we'd have to say was the 90s. Yeah, they might have had a fluke year with Carmelo. There's just been no consistency there.
You know that
for most
1999
people listening to this pod, they probably wouldn't even been alive the last time the Knicks were really good. If the name John Starks doesn't ring a bell, you're probably a heck of a lot younger than I am. So that's the case with the Knicks. It's cool. And by the way, the Islanders are in it too. They managed to wave off elimination, heading back to Belmont, UBS Arena, to take on the Hurricanes. This is more so that I'm happy, but also an homage to the fact that I just dislike all Philadelphia teams.
Man, there's a lot of New York love from Philly over on the sports world right now. This is pretty impressive.
Yeah, look, this is the first time since 94 where you had the Knicks, the Rangers, the Islanders, and the Devils all in the playoffs. First time since 1994. That's a long time. So I got things to be jovial about, which is why I'm rocking the blue. But blue and orange don't necessarily mean all that much as of right now. They will tomorrow when the Islanders play. Listen, Friday, is it?
Last I checked, the Devils are still in Jersey. So donate $19.99 for Philly's 1999 New York Knicks.
No, I'm going to say donate $23 for Kellyn Acosta scoring a goal.
I love it. That's a good one.
Better yet, how about $2 because it happened in injury time?
I'm all for that. Philly, you mentioned it. How was the atmosphere over at Barney's Beanery? You went to the watch party. Cuervos, any other SG supporting? That's just the Cuervos.
No, it was mainly Cuervos, and I got to give a shout out to everybody that's a member of the Cuervos. Always so warm and welcoming. They were the very first SG that I ever went to a watch party for back in 2018, and that was the Vancouver game in which Laurent Simon, I think Simon scored a goal in that game. No, I don't know. I think that was against Montreal he did. Regardless, but that was the first time that I ever had any encounters with any of the supporters groups. Chiquilin was the first person that I recall seeing, and obviously he was there. Got nothing but love for those guys and gals. I mean, when they do their watch parties, it's always a lot of fun. Barney's Beanery is where it was in Burbank, which is great. It was right down the road from my new office. And so I practically could have walked there. In fact, I didn't even go home. I just stayed in my suit. So when I sat there, people probably didn't recognize me. They're like, who's this dude? who's the banker looking guy sitting among us? And yeah, it was me. I just, Panda said I was being bad luck by wearing like a blue and green like ensemble, but I told her she was just, making things up.
Well, you get to sleep on the couch, not me, my friend. Just FYI, we did play Vancouver twice in 2018. Diego Rossi scored 3 of those 4 goals, the other one by Carlos Vela. So definitely
you looked that up. You did not know that off the top of your head.
Absolutely looked it up, 100%.
All right. Yeah, the first, I'll be clear. It was the game before our home game.
All right.
Early in the season.
Listen,
I think we went to a watch party at Hooters with them as well when the Hooters was in Burbank.
It was.
Because that was the last time I went to that Hooters. And come to think of it, that place has been closed for a while. So damn, it's been a minute.
It's been a minute. You know what else has been a minute? LAFC making a deep run in the U.S. Open Cup. We haven't done that since 2019. I guess 2022 we were fine in the Open Cup, but the U.S. Open Cup is underway. It is America's great soccer tournament. It is always a fun competition. Look, the MLS teams just got started in the U.S. Open Cup these last couple days. We are recording this Wednesday, April 26th. But Tuesday and Wednesday, April 25th, April 26th, the U.S. Open Cup has started their 3rd round of play. And it's been fun, man. We've had they call them cup sets in the U.S. Open Cup. Not sure what's going on with Philly's jacket right now, but
it's got me. It's eating me alive.
Memphis FC. Memphis FC taking out Atlanta United. That's right. The once mighty Atlanta United. And for the 5th time in their franchise history, the San Jose Earthquakes have been taken out by a lower league team. This one, Monterey Bay. That's right. Philly having fun with the soundboard over there. Monterey Bay and Memphis FC both taking out MLS clubs. We get some fun matchups, right? We get the Chicago Fire taking on a team called Chicago House. We get the Colorado
Sounds like
Rapids.
a techno band.
It does. We get the Colorado Rapids taking on the Northern Colorado Hailstorm.
Sounds like two sets of losers.
Oh, man. And we get Inter Miami CF. That's right. The Fighting Beckhams defeating Miami FC on penalty kicks.
One actually plays in Miami, the other one in Fort Lauderdale.
That's true. Only in the Open Cup do we get to see those. We also got to see Shaft Brewer Jr. play with Union Omaha. They lost badly to St. Louis City FC. We got to see Adrian Perez. He missed like most of the fun, though, for San Diego Loyal. You and I were sitting there watching that match before we went on to record this. They took the Seattle Sounders, or the Seattle Sounders Academy C team, to the absolute brink before losing on a 124th minute PK. I believe the word that describes the referee for calling a 124th minute PK is called chutzpah. It is a Yiddish word, and I'll let you guys look up what chutzpah is, because to call a PK in the 124th minute, Seattle, and it's, by the way, it's Freddie Montero who buries it for Seattle, like their franchise's second all-time leading scorer. Oh,
if you're going to look up Yiddish words, look up the word putz, because that's exactly what Simba was, the guy who gave the penalty. But he's also the guy who was the hero.
I was going to say he scored.
I mean, if you want to quote the Lion King, like, penalty in the box, you must never go there, Simba. Like, so while you're looking up chutzpah, look up the word putz. It's a term I like to use quite often.
And we got to see a fan favorite, Tampa Bay Rowdies, Cal Jennings, subbing into the match in their 1-0 loss for Houston. So look, anytime we get to work in Shaft Brewer Jr., Adrian Perez, or Cal Jennings into the pod, that's always fun. Philly, we kick off our Open Cup voyage in the 4th round. It'll either be May 9th or 10th. We're recording this April 26th, but tomorrow, April 27th, is the Open Cup draw, where we find out who we will play on May 9th or 10th in our Open Cup tilt. So that'll be fun. And this is all before our This Day in LAFC History and News and Notes segment. Philly, tomorrow might as well be a holiday in the state of California. It doesn't need to be a national holiday. That's fine. But one day it might be, because on April 27, 2018, the Los Angeles City Council officially named April 27th LAFC Day. We've celebrated it every year since. And Philly, you're the runner out of the two of us. LAFC has a really cool way that they are inviting the Black and Gold faithful to celebrate this year's LAFC Day on April 27th.
I was the runner, and now I'm coming back, so I'm not really fast anymore. But that's okay, because I'll get back there. So yes, Scarf, LAFC invites the Black and Gold faithful to celebrate LAFC Day in two unique, and some will say cool, ways. LAFC and the Black and Gold Running Club are teaming up to host a 5K run to commemorate LAFC Day, and it's going to be at BMO Stadium, 7 p.m., and it's a $25 registration fee, which you can find on the LAFC website, or if you check out our friends over at Black and Gold Run Club on Instagram, they got a link as well. So it's $25 to run, and the run itself is going to be around BMO Stadium. It's 5 kilometers, 3.1 miles for those who use that unit of measure in their trainings, and it's going to be good, man. It benefits the fee itself will benefit the LAFC Foundation's refurbishment project of Nick's kids soccer field in Watts. The Kellyn Acosta Foundation is obviously a part of that as well. And fans interested, like I said, can go to LAFC.com. You're going to get yourself an LAFC medal, which is kind of cool. So, Scarf, maybe you should just donate the $25 and walk the course. I'll meet you at La Chuperia once you're done, which is where everybody's going to be hanging out after the run. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Tomorrow, 7 p.m. And tomorrow, we mean April 27th, $25. Get your health on, get your LAFC medal, and then get your drink on at La Chuperia.
Dude, definitely sounds like fun. Don't forget, additionally, Los Angeles' iconic Union Station is also joining in on the celebration. If you want to head over to Union Station before you run the 5K, LAFC is hosting a pop-up. Fans will be able to take their picture. Now, a lot of you guys are going to be listening to it after this happens, so bummer. But from 4 to 6:30 p.m. on April 27th, which is still tomorrow as we're recording this, 4 to 6:30 p.m., Union Station. The MLS Cup trophy will be in the building. Take your picture with that. Philly, some news and notes, as we take part in our semifinal leg of the CONCACAF Champions League, we have the other semifinal leg going on down in Mexico as it pits León versus Tigres, the two clubs that we already have quite the history with in the CONCACAF Champions League. Tigres coming from behind at home to take the first leg 2-1 over León. A beautiful goal by Victor Davila gave León a quick 1-0 lead after just 6 minutes. But León couldn't even bring the lead into the locker room at halftime. Tigres scored in the 45th minute to level it, and a first-half stoppage time goal by Luis Quiñones was enough as Tigres left with the 2-1 win. Their second leg is at León on Wednesday, May 3rd. And here's the part that blows my mind, Philly. They played yesterday on April 25th. They play Wednesday, May 3rd. Now, the good part about LAFC in Philadelphia, we don't have an MLS Cup match in between our two legs of the semifinal. León and Tigres have a Liga MX match between their two legs of the final, and the match is against each other. They play each other 3 times in 9 days. That is some terrible scheduling by Liga MX.
Yeah, and here we are complaining that we've got too many games coming on our radar. But I have to say, between the two teams, I would love, and I don't know how you feel about this, and defenders, if you want to chime in.
I know what you're saying.
If you want to chime in, you feel free to slide into our DMs. Late night with Philly. I'd love to face Tigres for 2 reasons. 1, revenge, because it tastes so sweet when served on a vengeful platter. And 2, if we have the opportunity to go down to Monterrey, that'd be kind of cool because I got to go there earlier in the year with Panda and Reimer to call a game at Arena Monterrey. Monterrey's a really cool city. I really enjoyed my time there, and I'd love to go back there for 2 reasons. 1, to visit more. 2, to stick it to Gignac and Tigres. There you
I was going to say, Andre Pierre Gignac is worth the price of admission no matter what you're doing. I would
38 years old, Scarf. The man is 38, came to Tigres by way of Olympique Marseille. Didn't realize he had 36 caps with the French national team, but he spent the vast majority of his career playing down in Monterrey for Tigres. I think we're talking 165 games or something like that.
Yeah, he is a Tigres legend. Obviously, them winning CONCACAF Champions League was a big deal, but anytime you can watch Jeez. Oh my goodness. Congratulations to Denis Bouanga for being named to the bench for Team of the Match Day number 9. Congrats to Denis. He's used to being named Player of the Week, not just to the bench for Team of the Match Day. So
we'll Player of the League at the end of this one.
I completely agree, my friend. LAFC honored by the California State Senate and the Assembly on Monday, April 24th, Philly. They were honored by, amongst others, Gavin Newsom, State Governor, Assembly Member Reggie Jones Sawyer, and State Senator Maria Elena Durazo. LAFC rolled deep, Philly, into the state capitol as LAFC managing owners Bennett Rosenthal and Brandon Beck, co-presidents Larry Friedman and John Thorrington, Jordan Harvey, and Maxime Crepeau all made the trip so that we could get honored for winning the 2022 MLS Cup. Pretty sweet anytime we get to go to the nation's capital and they get to tell us how much they love us.
The nation's capital?
Did I say that? The state capital.
There you go. Just making sure. I sometimes pay attention to what you say.
Hey, we get to go beat up on another Philadelphia sports team soon.
Yep.
That's going to be fun. I'm trying to throw you a segue to this next.
No, fair enough. I was just wondering where you're going with this. That's right. Another LAFC night at Chavez Ravine as the LA Dodgers take on the disgusting Philadelphia Filthies. I'm not going to call them the Phillies because you get mistaken for me. The Filthies. That's another team I hate. I don't like very many sports teams from Philadelphia. In fact, the only thing I've come to the conclusion, the only thing that I like from Philadelphia is Benjamin Franklin and the $100 bill. I wish I had more of him in my pocket. And John McCarthy and his family, of course. Got another beloved for the McCarthys. Cheesesteaks are okay, too. Other than that, Philadelphia. Hope the Dodgers absolutely sweep them under the ravine, bury the Filthies where they belong. And for your information, that game will be on Monday, May 1st at 7 p.m. LAFC.com for more details.
All right, Philly, here's where we recap all of our signings and news from the transfer window on April 24th. Let's go over all of LAFC's moves now.
All right.
Yep, that was all of them. LAFC standing pat on the April 24th transfer window. I know a lot of people were expecting some big moves to happen, and one big move certainly did happen over in FC Cincinnati with Brenner being moved to Udinese for upwards of $10 million, they're saying. Crazy town. But that only serves to make the East a little bit weaker. So LAFC doing nothing during this transfer window. Look, we're not a Galaxy pod, but they did sign two small signings, including one of their draft picks and what I think could be a very good move I believe he's a defensive back, a U.S. under 20 player who comes back over, but not a lot going on. That is their last opportunity, of course, to add players this season. So we'll see what they do for the rest of the year. Philly.
I don't want to get into it, but check out Twitter and ACB caving into the Galaxy front office, FYI. I'll just leave it at that.
There's a lot going on there. Philly, LAFC officially receiving approval to invest with the Austrian club, and you pronounce it so much better than I do, so I will now get out of your way.
When it comes to German or Austrian, or I think it's Dutch, when you see a W in there, think of it just as a V. It isn't Wacker. It sounds kind of funny when you say it that way. FC Wacker Innsbruck. That's right. That approval is good to go. We are able to invest in this club. Get ready to head out to beautiful Austria. And obviously, I'm not talking about the land down under, mate, to, reference the great movie Dumb and Dumber. Nah, man, Innsbruck is a really nice town. Austria is one of the most beautiful countries I've ever laid eyes on. So hopefully this partnership is legit enough to the point where if we all show up there in LAFC hats, they're going to open the doors for us. So the approval is in. Pretty cool. And hey, while you're there, hop the train ride afterwards, 163 kilometers over to Munich, where we have another partnership, red and gold, baby, with Bayern München. They're having a bit of a struggle this season, but they still have plenty of opportunity to win the German Bundesliga. So this is pretty cool. They're playing currently in the fourth tier of the Austrian football pyramid, not because they're a bad team, mainly because they couldn't really afford to pay their dues and their memberships. And as a result of that, they were deducted heavily and dropped down to the fourth tier of the pyramid. This is a team that's been in the Bundesliga, the top flight for Austria, and bouncing back and forth between the first and the second division. I no doubt with LAFC investing in it, pulling in players, maybe going through things back and forth. Personnel, I don't exactly know the specifics, but this is a good thing. And hey, man, a trip to Austria, certainly worth it. Now we have an opportunity to go catch a club there, and who knows? Maybe they'll welcome us with open arms. They'll certainly be a hell of a lot nicer to us than those people out in Philly.
Speaking of clubs getting relegated or promoted, look, we've been following the Wrexham story all season, by the way. Did you see Rob McElhaney's little kind of tongue-in-cheek offer that he put out there now that they're getting promoted?
It's going to happen. I have this. Don't be surprised if you're going to see a Gareth Bale Wrexham jersey at some point, even if it's just like a game or two. I think it's going to happen. If they manage to put that on social media, I think it's going to happen. You're going to pull them in between golf tournaments to play a couple of games for Wrexham.
How cool would that be? Speaking of cool, man, when I was under 15, I couldn't even tie my shoes well, let alone do what these young kids are doing.
You still can. I see you putting on your shoes. They're slip-ons.
I've double knotted them, so I don't have to learn how to tie them again. I figured it out once. Don't need to worry about it again. Double knotting. It's important.
He teaches Latin and math, folks.
LAFC is well represented in the U.S. under 15 boys national team camp as midfielders Jude Terry, DeCarlo Guerra, and Liam Lambert all took part in the camp. I believe they drew England 2-2 in their first match before I think they beat them on PKs. Congrats to our three U15 budding superstars. Philly, you and I got to see another superstar at BMO Stadium last Sunday, April 23rd. the debut of the Ertz era, Julie Ertz, taking the pitch for the first time for Angel City FC.
No, it was a lot of fun seeing her out there. She certainly is a welcome addition and a heck of a player. No doubt we'll see her husband, Zach, sometime at BMO. Unfortunately, Angel City dropped another game to Alex Morgan and San Diego Wave, although in very unlucky fashion, because if you go back to watch that game, you could clearly see Alex Morgan committing a bit of a harsh foul.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll tell you what. Go listen to the Angel City Chicks. They've got a darn good podcast. They'll run you through some interesting and controversial moments of that game. Spoiler, Angel City lost San Diego Wave 2-0, but it was cool seeing Julie Ertz. I think she's going to be my new favorite player, but she's going to have to work really hard to unseat me from being the chairman of the Savannah McCaskill Mafia.
Yeah, I don't think you're going anywhere as the chairman of the McCaskill Mafia, my friend. Angel City is set to take on Portland in Portland, the defending champion, Portland Thorns, Saturday, April 29th.
Oh, me so thorny. Oh, me so thorny.
Unfortunately, LAFC 2 got no love in Portland as they fell 2-0 at Providence Park. As our second club, Philly, is still looking for our first win of our first season. Our next match, Sunday, April 30th. Are you going to be there? I'm going to be there. Are you going to be there?
I barely know what I'm doing tomorrow. Oh, yeah, I'm running tomorrow for charity.
You're running, yes.
Talk to me in a week.
Sunday, April 30th at home at Titan Stadium in Fullerton. LAFC takes on San Jose 2 at 3:30 p.m. Sunday, April 30th. So we hope to see everybody out there. All right, hey, we made it well under a half hour talking all the things that we talk about before we get into the match. Philly, LAFC, Philadelphia Union, the rematch of the 2022 MLS Cup final. And dare I say, it lived up to all the billing.
Chill.com. They make really good CBD gummies that help lower your blood pressure. I was once a spokesperson, a brand ambassador for them, if you will. I might have to pop another 25 milligrams of this CBD stuff to calm down. It was a crazy game. Anytime these two meet, it's crazy. It's crazy. Obviously, that MLS Cup game was crazy. Our 3-3 game against them before COVID, crazy. LAFC is never lost to the Philadelphia Union, which obviously means the Philadelphia Union have never beaten LAFC. We have had so many games that ended in a draw, and it happens yet again. Now, this is a Philadelphia Union team that was predicted to be number one in the East, number one in the Supporter Shield, and the team to beat LAFC throughout the course of this regular season in Major League Soccer. However, the Union are not a very good team to start the season. In fact, they're not a real good team, period, right now. 7th place in the East, 11 points, 3-4-2 record. Team defenders that can't score against the worst team in Major League Soccer. And I mean Sporting Kansas City. And we're not going to the beginning of the season either. We're going to April 1st, April Fool's Day. They can't score against SKC. Good defense, great goalkeeping, not a lot of great scores. And they make it here by way of defeating Alianza in the first round and then defeating Atlas, which I know we all would have hoped to have gone to Guadalajara, but needless to say, cheesesteaks it is. So that's how they got their scarf.
You mean beating up on Fito Zelaya and Alianza was how they got here? Oh,
there's a name that strikes fear in the heart of really nobody. It's not Major League Soccer. Fito had some prime. He was a good player within his own right. Just didn't really work out that well for him at LAFC, but he did score a couple goals.
Did not work out well for Fito. Look, anybody who is predicting the Philadelphia Union's demise is forgetting one thing. The amount of talent on this roster is absolutely incredible, beginning and ending with their goalkeeper and the only 3-time winner of goalkeeper of the year in Major League Soccer, one Andre Blake. Interesting to note, Jim Curtin, who I think you and I, Philly, will agree, a top 3 coach, let's say, in Major League Soccer. I would put the top 3, in my opinion. Number 1 would be Steve Cherundolo. Number 2 would be Brian Schmetzer. And number 3 would be Jim Curtin, in my humble opinion, although Bruce Arena's probably looking around going, what the hell do I have to do to get on that list? But
He's there already, the winningest coach.
Yeah,
does
right.
it. I would
Jim
say
Curtin.
2 out of the 3 people you mentioned, I would say could potentially be candidates for the head
Well,
coaching job for the U.S. men's national team.
That's what I'm kind of leading into. Jim Curtin currently not under contract next season. And some of the rumor is because the U.S. men's national team trying to woo him away from, I mean, what's not
Ooh,
to
is he
love
going to be
about
like a Hansi Flick?
what's
One more season before he goes to coach the Nationalmannschaft?
What's not to love about playing and coaching in beautiful Philadelphia, Pennsylvania? Jim Curtin, as good as it gets, though, as a head coach. We'll get into lineups. I would like to mention, too, Philly, that not only have we never lost to the Philadelphia Union, but this has not been a place we've even had to book travel plans for since 2019. I do want to remind everybody, we only have one player on our roster that was there in 2019. That would be, of course, one Carlos Vela. Not many more, by the way, for the Philadelphia Union. Andre Blake and Jim Curtin were both there. And then it goes back to like Kai Wagner and Alejandro Bedoya, and I think that might be it, although maybe they had Jack Elliott on the back line. I have to go back and look. But not many players from the last time we took on Philly in Philly. Shall we get into the lineups, Philly?
Yeah, what's funny about that game, September the 14th, 2019, 1-1. Very interesting.
Yeah, see, look at you making connections. I like that. Let's get into the lineups. First, let's talk Jim Curtin and his 4-4-2. He runs it as well as any club in Major League Soccer. Goalkeeper, Andre Blake, Kai Wagner, Jack Elliott, Jacob Glesnes, and Olivier Mbaizo. No need to go into the introductions for these guys because if you listen to our MLS Cup preview and post-game show, those were the same guys we announced during MLS Cup. They are a very, very good back line who last year were the stingiest back line in all of Major League Soccer. But as Philly mentioned, they have not done that this year. Jack McGlynn, Jose Martinez, and getting the start over Leon Flock would be their captain, their heart and soul. And I believe Philly's pick to click, your player to watch for this match, was Alejandro Bedoya. Mine was Jack Elliott, and neither of us were right. The midfielders being rounded out by one Daniel Gazdag. He is as good as it gets in the midfield. And their forwards, Julian Carranza, and Philly says it's so much better, so I'm going to make him do this very last one. Philly, rounding out the forwards, it's Mikhail. One more time with the last name. Ooh, I absolutely love it. Got a little Al Pacino, Son of a Woman vibes every time you say his name.
Well, that's more military-esque.
And in the 18, the only two players we care about are Quinn Sullivan and Leon Flock, the two young kids who have been the first two off the mat every game this season for Philadelphia. That's the Union. Philly, it's safe to say that LAFC brought their A lineup into today's matchup.
They did, and their A-game goalkeeper, John McCarthy, in between the pipes. John McCarthy, the leader in the CONCACAF Champions League, heading into this first leg of the semifinal with, get this, 32 saves. 32 saves, John McCarthy. John McCarthy's been busy. Now, Andre Blake, you mentioned what an outstanding goalkeeper he is. No doubt he's an outstanding goalkeeper. He even had some tremendous saves in the matchup that occurred today.
Yeah.
But there's a huge discrepancy between first place in saves in that number one stat, 32 with J-Mac. Blake had 11 coming into this game, 11 saves. Good Lord. And that's not a testament to anything other than how stingy that defense is. So kudos
and Philly, you said that puts him in third place and he's 21 saves behind?
Yeah, pretty crazy, right?
That's
and
nuts.
I was beginning to think our defense substantially improved. Obviously, John McCarthy's been a heck of a keeper. And unless the slides and the info that I got from CONCACAF themselves is wrong, that's a huge discrepancy, man. Huge discrepancy. But that's all defense, not so much Andre Blake.
No, you're absolutely right. Look, it's again, we talked about it. This is the same back line they rolled out for MLS Cup final. I want to say they gave up 26 goals on the season last year to either set or tie the MLS record for fewest goals against in a 34-game season. It's a very, very good back line. And look, they showed it for most of this match. Who else joins J-Mac on our starting 11?
Just to finish you off, gross. Just to finish off that statement, they've already allowed 13 goals in just a quarter of the way into this MLS season. Rounding out the back line, Cheeky Palacios, Aaron Long, Jesus David Murillo, Ryan Hollingshead. Midfield, Kellyn Acosta, Ilie Sanchez. No surprise there. Jose Cifuentes. Change gonna come. That's all I got to say about that. Mahala Opoku, Carlos Vela, and Denis Bouanga, who over the course of 12 games has 12 goals in all competitions. He also has 4 assists. He is on pace with what Carlos Vela was doing in 2019. Go, Denis.
Denis poached an assist today, by the way. Absolutely.
Oh, he absolutely did, which, well, we'll talk about that
An
too.
assist today. My boy, I am on the Bogusz bandwagon, by the way. Get me on that train. Look, it used to be the Brian bandwagon. I was literally the last one whipping the horses as one wheel fell off, and then the other but luckily it was one wheel on both sides, so there were still 2 wheels, and we were kind of wobbling and wondering, and then all the wheels fell off of the Brian bandwagon. Well, guess what? We've rebuilt it. The Bogusz bandwagon is full speed ahead. Can't wait. Love this kid. He got Denis. You owe him a pizza. I think he's the one old enough to drink a beer, so maybe you can buy him a beer. Either way, you owe him something. Philly, the Union. God, this is gonna be.
Why
fun.
do we refer to them as the Union and me as Philly? Not confuse me and the millions that are listening to the show.
I already did it to myself. You're right. Absolutely. The Union coming out with a very high press to start, and I loved it. First ball in to John McCarthy. The Boo Birds just came raining down. They said that he had 50 friends and family there to watch the match as well, and 19,000 that used to be friends and family to John McCarthy. He was, look, let's not forget, every single day in practice, it was training. Excuse me, all you Ted Lasso fans out there. By the way, last 2 episodes of Ted Lasso, holy crap. That's the best damn show on television. I don't care. Last 2 episodes, unbelievable. Stop what you're doing after you listen to this episode and go watch those last 2 episodes. They're unreal. Either way.
Might be more than you get.
What was it, that little gummy that you took there? Look, the high press giving LAFC a little bit of trouble. But hey, in the 5th minute, we get the first of what would have to be many corner kicks for LAFC in the match, right? 5 minutes in, we get our first one. Vela didn't quite hit it well. Not a whole lot goes on there. But, of course, many opportunities would come by way of corner kicks or not, I guess.
First off, I don't think people were booing John McCarthy. I think they were booing the fact that it was 51 and rainy in Chester, Pennsylvania. That's what I have to say about that, Scarf. 8th minute of the game, we have a close call, but the soccer gods definitely created a double whammy. Call it what you want. The Philadelphia Union exposed LAFC, and, we had a lifeline. Kai Wagner had a cross that deflected. It looked like it was off of Glesnes all the way to the right of your screen and right into the path of Julian Carranza, and he hits the post. So not only was he unlucky by it hitting the post, he was also called for offside. So either way, a double whammy. The soccer gods are like, not today, Union, moving right along. But Philadelphia coming out quite aggressively early on in this game.
Kai Wagner had 15 assists last year to break the record for most assists by a defender.
Well, he takes every set piece. He takes every corner kick. Kai Wagner does it all, so that shouldn't be a surprise.
Well, and they got 6'6" Jack Elliott on the back end of things. Look, this is a very talented team, you guys. I think
only won 3 games during MLS so far, Scarf.
I think Jesus Murillo is going to see Mikhail Ua in his sleep a few times after some of the things that he did to him in this match. Look, 25th minute, 25 minutes in, and these 2 teams, with all the talent that we talked about, Carlos Vela, Denis Bouanga, Jose Cifuentes, Kellyn Acosta, Ilie Sanchez, and everybody over on Philadelphia's side, it took 25 flipping minutes for either team to get a shot, not a shot on target, a shot. Philly, You and I have spent 25 minutes at tailgate and been 3 or 4 shots in. We're 25 minutes into an actual match and finally a shot. And again, look at 34th minute, man. Mikel Ua, the second effort, the third effort as he got past Jesus David Murillo. I don't know what Ryan Hollingshead was doing, but Ilie there in the nick of time to get that little block. And I just honestly, after that, can you explain to me why the referee was so, I'll say, particular about where Daniel Gazdag had to put that ball on the corner? They talked about it for several minutes.
Was it Gazdag or no? It was Wagner. Wagner took all the set pieces.
I thought it was Gazdag on that particular corner.
Wagner took. I mean, I might be wrong. I'd have to go back to see that specific moment.
Yeah, you're probably right. I give it to you.
Kai Wagner took practically every set piece. So, I mean, he was just outside of the lines altogether. And I don't even know why Wagner was that pissed. Just like, kid, just shut up and just do it so we could get on with the game. That really was the most exciting part of that entire set piece, because the minute he let that sucker go in the air, like, nothing happened. Nothing happened at all. You talk about 2 or 3. Scarf, we were barely able to string 2 or 3 passes between the midfield. That goal, that attempt that you had mentioned in the 25th minute, the shot by Denis Bouanga, that was like the first legit crisp pass from Ilie Sanchez just from the midfield. We weren't playing very well. Defensively, I thought we were okay. 25 minutes to take a shot, that's kind of crazy. But our midfield was not very good for a good portion of this game.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was one of my 2 keys to the match, right? We need to string together all 3 lines, and we did not do it very well. You're absolutely right. I did, by the way, notice in the 39th minute, why is Ryan Hollingshead clean shaven? Who told him he was allowed to shave? What is Ryan Hollingshead doing?
We spoke earlier. We both shaved.
Yeah, you guys both shaved. My goodness. Philly, you mentioned the not only starting keeper, but a player who, I mean, should we start the conversation right now here on episode 244 of Defenders of the Bank? When Maxime Crepeau is healthy, do we have a little bit of a goalkeeping controversy on our hands? Because 2 times in the next 5 or 6 minutes of the match, John McCarthy absolutely stands on his head.
Stands big time. And I think I told you this. If and when Maxime is ready to go, I think it's going to take a very poor performance from J-Mac to even let Maxime sniff anywhere around the goal. John McCarthy's been excellent. You could go back to the last game, and Stu Holden even mentioned it. I mean, he absolutely brick-walled Chicharito in a crucial moment in something similar. That 40th minute that you're talking about, Carranza had a gorgeous pass connecting with Ua. Now, Moody was sticking on Ua all day long, to the point where I was like, man, he's really punking this kid. But he gets himself some space, some distance. Moody was doing everything he could to track back, but, I mean, Ua was off to the races. He gets a clean look at J-Mac. The Philly boy stops him. Huge save, keeping us into the game. At that crucial moment of the half, it would have put this team in a completely different mental frame of mind heading back into the locker room on that gross 51 rainy degree day. But J-Mac was like, I got this. I'm going to punk this kid. And he absolutely punked Ua, who probably went, I can't think of anything that rhymes with Ua. I'll get back to you on that. But hell of a save by J-Mac.
Yeah, look, you had a second one in stoppage time as well. I think that one was on Julian Carranza. I'm telling you, he's making it very, very difficult, folks, to just hand the starting gloves back over to Maxime Crepeau. And that's no knock on Maxime Crepeau. Maxime Crepeau became a club legend for what he was able to do last year. We talked about it, Philly, ad nauseum, how nice it was to have a keeper that you just put back there every single time. You didn't need to worry if is Tyler Miller the hot hand, or is it Pablo Sistiega, or is it Kenneth Vermeer, or is it... No, we had our guy in Maxime Crepeau. And I have an observation at the end of this episode that I want to share with all of you. And I want you to remind me, Phil, I have this observation I want to share with all of you, and it has a lot to do with John McCarthy and Maxime Crepeau. But that's after. So we head into the half, Philly 0-0. And look, it was a half where I think if it were a boxing match, right? I think LAFC is down on points through the half if it's a boxing match. I think we got outplayed. Easily the two best chances of the night were both snuffed out by John McCarthy. I don't know that they even really needed Andre Blake. They could have put an 11th attacker out there and it would have been just fine instead of Andre Blake, but 0-0 at the half. And I thought we got into the half just in time.
0 shots on target. 0 shots on target. You're not going to score goals and walk out of games without any shots on target. Philly beat us in a lot of circumstances, in a lot of statistical categories, offside and fouls as well. So I would say up to this point, yeah, you're right. Philadelphia certainly whooped up on us. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't have anything negative to say about the officiating. I know Dave Denholm feels otherwise. You saw his tweets. But I thought the refs were fair up to this point, and I really thought they let these teams play. And I thought just by the fact that the ref is letting a lot of things slide, it's Philly versus LA, man. Like, it's going to be a brutal game.
Wait, you took on all of Los Angeles?
No, well, I would lose very, very candidly and very quickly. Fine. The Union versus LAFC. If the refs aren't calling it, these boys are going to be rough. So
and look, this wasn't just any referee. Cesar Ramos was the head referee during the World Cup semifinal between France and Morocco. I mean, this is a referee who's earned his stripes, who has an incredible pedigree. And I think, look, anybody who wants to complain about the officiating, you really only had one thing to complain about. You probably thought, if you're complaining about the officiating in this match, that the referee should have called more fouls. But I'll tell you this, he just let everything go pretty fairly, I thought, by the way. Look, if you don't call a foul on a play that we'll talk about with Carlos Vela later on in the second half, then I don't know how you call a foul on anything else for the entire rest of the match. But Cesar Ramos, I thought, did an excellent job officiating this match. The first thing that he had to do in the second half was wave on Mateusz Bogusz for Mahala. Look, we saw Mahala take a hard foul, a little bit of a knock in the first half, and you thought maybe he was shown limping a little bit. Maybe it's a little bit of a hamstring. Maybe it's just something tactical. But, I mean, Mateusz Bogusz coming on at the half for Mahala wound up being one of the key moments in this match for LAFC.
I would agree, and he is super fast. Mahala didn't play a Mahala-esque game. In fact, there was one play in which Acosta tried to connect with him in the box, and Mahala they didn't read each other well. Like, Acosta's son didn't read his dad very well, and I just thought he was just a bit slow. He wasn't very crisp with his passing. He was okay with his runs. I definitely thought that this was one of Mahala's less than stellar performances, but you can see Bogusz in there. Big kid, sturdy kid. Was very excited to see him play. The couple of minutes we saw him against the Galaxy were fun, so brace yourselves. Now, 5 minutes into the second half, you have an absolute posterization of Kai Wagner by Ryan Hollingshead. A 50-50 ball in which Ryan Hollingshead wins that, which leads to a Denis Bouanga break. And Bogusz, running like the Polish gazelle that he is, all Denny had to do was connect with him. No doubt he would have put it past Blake. Unfortunately, Denny's pass had a little too much hot sauce on it, so it did not catch Bogusz on the run. And after that, there was a whistle, timeout a little bit, because Kai Wagner clearly took a shot. Look, no doubt about it. I mean, Wagner's a tough, sturdy German kid. You could clearly see that Ryan headbutted him, but man, what a posterization that was. I hope there's some photographer out there. He caught that moment, because that's one of those posters that goes on your wall if you love defenders.
Yeah, look, this one was Kai Wagner getting postered by Ryan Hollingshead. Of course, the one that would be painted on my wall like the beautiful fresco that it could be would be Gareth Bale posterizing 6'6" Jack Elliott. Look, man, 53rd minute, out of nothing, a really good quick ball over the top to Daniel Gazdag, as Aaron Long got kind of fooled, and it was Ryan Hollingshead coming all the way over from the weak side to clear it away for a corner kick. Kai Wagner earns a couple of, actually, corner kicks for Philadelphia in that sequence, but it's Aaron Long again winning the header on the corner, and Cheeky earned that foul, and I thought that took the air out of Philadelphia's sails a little bit going into the next maybe few minutes or so. But I was wrong. Don't worry. 58th minute, a potential goal for Philadelphia, but the offside flag up yet again. I thought they would take a look at it with VAR, but Daniel Gazdag was just off. Not by as much as Taylor Twellman. Was it Taylor Twellman, right?
Stu Holden.
Stu Holden. Thank you. Ooh, sorry, I mixed them both up. Not as much as Stu Holden felt like he was offside, but Daniel Gazdag was just off, and it was Aaron Long who stepped up on that one. And look, through the first 60 or so minutes, or first 15 minutes of the second half, it was again all the Union.
It was. Are we gonna talk about that play in which Carlos Vela ran into a fender bender?
I mean, we certainly can there on the 60th minute. It's it's one of those plays that I guess we just talked about our referee. I guess he thought it was a 50-50 ball, even though it was more like a T-boning than a 50-50 ball.
Yeah, but I mean, I would still say Carlos slid into traffic, which is why I called it a fender bender. I wouldn't say there was anything malicious on that play, but obviously Carlos went down and he was hurt for a little while. And I don't know what exactly happened between Bizo and I think it was Mickey. I forget exactly now that I think about it because I didn't write down the note. But like there was obviously a tussle between these two teams. But going back to look at the replay, I mean, I thought it was fair that nobody was given a card on that.
Sure.
A card would occur moments later on Martinez, who ended up bowing out of the game on a self-inflicted injury, I suppose. But yeah, there was nothing that I saw that was too harsh on Carlos Vela. I thought that was fair.
Yeah,
didn't look fun, but I would say it was fair. If you notice, though, that I think it was Glesnes, wasn't it? Possibly. But anytime that same player came charging towards Carlos Vela, if you would go back to watch, Carlos Vela didn't want to have any part of it. So he clearly learned his lesson not to run into the big Philadelphia Union defender. I'm sure it was Glesnes. I have to go back and double check.
So on that player, you talking about where he runs into Olivier Mbaizo, or are you talking about the one where
he's sliding on the turf going for a ball, and I'm pretty sure he connects with Glesnes.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. That was definitely a dangerous play. That was when?
Yeah, but Bizo got into a scuffle with some of the other LAFC players. Like something else happened, like while Carlos was on the floor, on the pitch, I should say.
No, for sure. Look, 66 minute. As we fast forward to what I thought would be one of the most pivotal plays in the match, and still was, Andre Blake is still special. I don't care what anybody wants to say. It was a beautiful ball from Ilie Sanchez. Denny Bwanga forces.
It was Sifu. Sifu made the play into Denny Bwanga. If you're talking about the Blake saves, it was Sifu.
Oh man, now I'm just.
No, we got to give a shout out to Sifu because I have the note. That was about the best thing he did all game was that pass to Denny.
Yeah, well, the best thing Andre Blake did all game for sure was make that one-handed save, and then Denny Bwanga tries to catch him napping, a little backheeled pass, or backheeled shot, I should say, and Andre Blake is right there on the post. Look, there's a reason why the guy was a 3-time goalkeeper of the year, making the big save on Denny Bwanga, the assist poacher that he is. But in the 66th minute, there would be no goal for Bwanga yet.
Yeah, but Andre Blake, man. Oh, boy. 68th minute, there was a play scarf where Jose Cifuentes got the ball up top of the box, and he had all the time in the world to take a shot. Wide open. Why he didn't do it is beyond me. It's like Sifu didn't have a problem taking shots from way outside of the box back in the day. I don't know, like just to me, and I don't know if there's anybody out there that agrees or disagrees, but I don't think Jose Cifuentes has played really at all this season. It's crazy. The last 2 years, he started out red hot the first half of the season up until the All-Star game. Then he kind of faded a little bit towards the end of the season. Obviously, he regained spot in the postseason, but he just hasn't looked good. His decision-making doesn't seem there. His confidence seems to have dipped a little bit. Heck, even that goal that he scored a couple of games ago barely like bounced in off of the post. Like I'm not entirely thrilled with the play of Jose Cifuentes. But somebody else who wouldn't be entirely thrilled was Carlos Vela when he gets subbed out in the 69th minute for Stipe Buke. And I'm hanging out at Barney's Beanery with my buddy David Quinones, and he's shaking his head fiercely, saying, that wasn't the move. That wasn't the move. And again, I want to give a shout out to David, Juice, Chiquilin, Christian, everybody at Cuervos. Y'all rock.
Yeah, can you imagine, Philly? First of all, it's a giggity sub. 69th minute, we get our sub. Carlos Vela comes off for Stipe Buke. The two subs that Steve Cherundolo brings in what is our most important match of the season thus far are kids that are 20 and 21 years old playing in their first couple of months with the club. In Mateusz Bogus's case, first couple of weeks with the club. And yet, Steve Cherundolo, in trusting these kids, and we can say that because we are double their age, these kids with some of the biggest moments of LAFC's season, we are as aspirational of a club that exists in North America. And the man who holds the keys to the car has just given them to 20-year-old and 21-year-old substitutes who have combined maybe spent 16 weeks with this club. It's pretty incredible to think. And it just goes to show not just the type of players that LAFC brings in on a regular basis, but how comfortable, how quickly those players get in our system. I absolutely love it. And again, this will speak to something I'm going to talk about at the end of this podcast. It was just an incredible moment to think, oh my God, we just subbed out our club's greatest player and a player who we likely needed to score a goal maybe in that moment for Stipe Buke, 20 years old, this kid coming over. It's incredible to see these players come in. We had our first handball of the match by Kellyn Acosta.
No, okay. I was gonna say like the first handball really happened in like the 4th minute.
Yeah, no, the first handball by Kellyn Acosta happening in the 70th minute. Kai Wagner, you mentioned it, man. He takes every damn near set piece that they have, picked out Jacob Glesnes, and somehow Jacob Glesnes' header pops it straight up. I don't know physically how a round head and a round ball traveling at the speeds that those were traveling. I do teach math. I don't quite teach physics, but all of those things happening at the same time, how the ball goes straight up, the way it went straight up. I have no idea how that happened. We absolutely dodge a bullet there in the 70th minute. It should, again, it should be 1-0.
I mean, it should have really been 1 or 2-0 in the first half for the Union. That's the way they were playing. We didn't look very good. Soccer gods, thankfully, were on our side. Now, I mentioned earlier on how Jose Cifuentes, it was being a little bashful, not taking a shot from outside of the box. 72nd minute, though, Mateusz Bogus had no problem taking a shot outside of the box on Andre Blake. The cojones on this kid already. Second game in, barely around for a shot of espresso, has no problem taking a shot. I like that. I admire that. And to your point about it being crazy that the kids get the keys to the car. Nah, I mean the Germans allow the young kids to play. And by Germans, I mean, look, Steve Cherundolo spent his entire career at Hannover 96. He was a young, unproven American from the University of Portland, and he was given a shot. And on that shot, he ends up becoming the mayor of Hanover. Like, Germans don't like outsiders. It's just how they operate. Steve Cherundolo does that. But that's the German system. What doesn't matter if it's Bayern Munich or FC St. Pauli or Regensburg, Fortuna Dusseldorf, the list goes on and on. Between Erste and Zweite Bundesliga, they let the kids play, and the kids certainly played tough. Moving forward, there's a couple, the 74th minute, Beisel gets fouled by Stipe, set piece, punched out by J-Mac, and then we have what I think is the turning point in this game, and had he came into the game earlier, it might have been the difference maker. 78th minute, you have Timothy Tillman coming in for Jose Cifuentes. Timothy Tillman, I feel, is the better midfielder this season. I don't want to say overall because the body of work is not there, but Timothy Tillman certainly is a good midfielder. Man, and he had some plays where he was absolutely juking his defender. So he comes in, and then for the Philadelphia Union, you have Flock and Sullivan coming in for Martinez and Uwa. Their leading scorers, 7 goals over the course of the regular season, comes out. And I thought at some point he would turn Jesus David Murillo over on his backside and score a goal. Thankfully, that wouldn't be the case. But we finally got some drama, though, in that 82nd minute.
Yeah, just backing up one quick second. My player to watch for LAFC, I thought he was going to come through for us, Philly, in the 76th minute as Stipe earned that corner for LAFC. By the way, that corner that we earned in the 76th minute came 71 minutes after our first corner. We had 2 corner kicks, 71 minutes apart. An absolutely great ball by Kellyn Acosta, but Sifu just couldn't get there, Philly. And I feel like that was a microcosm of not just this match for Jose Cifuentes, but his play all season. There has been some talk, some thought that he is playing with one mind in Europe and the other half here in Major League Soccer. Who knows? But you were a little bit more conservative, I think, than I will be here talking about in the 79th minute. Timothy Tillman coming on for Jose Cifuentes. Timothy Tillman has been, I'm going to give an even bigger statement. You ready for this? I think Timothy Tillman has been our best midfielder this season. It's saying a lot with how well it's saying a lot though with how well Ilie Sanchez has played, with how solid Kellyn Acosta's service has been for much of this season. I think Timothy Tillman has been our best midfielder, and I think he's someone who Steve Cherundolo and the front office targeted and knew he would be able to come in right away and pay some dividends. Unfortunately, paying some dividends for Philadelphia would be one of our midfielders in the 82nd minute. And again, you guys can say what you want about the replays. I actually thought the replay that was looking at it from the back end, from the far side, did show the arm up there. A lot of people were saying, but how could you tell? It looks like his head. You know how you can tell? As the referee goes over to give Kellyn Acosta the yellow card, Kellyn Acosta doesn't even look at him. Doesn't even look at him. He's like, yep, I did it. That was me. All due respect to the whole clear and obvious. I thought it was clear and obvious. And unfortunately,
I've got it here. We could add it to the stream for those watching. Why don't we just play it real quick?
I was going to say it. Unfortunately, Philly's got the video, so we have to watch it.
Thank you, producer McPandas. Let's see if this works for a change. Not because of Panda, because of me.
Clearance to McGlynn. It's a deflected shot. Is it a handball? That's the argument. Call on the field is it's out for a corner.
That's the look. That back look.
It's a deliberate handball in the box, blocking a strike on goal. Penalty.
Penalty kick for the Union.
Yeah, look at that. Right there. Right there. Look, Philly, if you and I didn't do it, we would be screaming at that official. No, you got it wrong. It was my head. Look, there's grass on my head from the ball. Something. Nothing.
Fine. You bring up a very valid point, but riddle me this. We have the technology that can find a guy in a hole in the middle of the desert. Crazy technology.
Yeah.
Yet, in today's day and age, we can't see a clear and obvious handball. Are we looking at a cathode ray tube, for Christ's sakes? How do we not have a better camera angle, better visual representation of that play? I'll give it to you. Maybe it wasn't a handball because of the lack of protest. And then at one point, J-Max pushing everybody back. Ilie Sanchez was involved in there. He had the best angle of it all. But I just think it's just a piss poor thing that we can't see a clear and obvious play on that. You walk around the streets of England with closed captioning television, they can see anything at any spur of the moment, highlighted. You can see the pimples on a deer from like 100 whatever. I don't know what I'm talking about. But still, I'm blown away that we can't have clear and obvious. And I think that's why most people got upset too, is it's grainy. It looks like we're looking at footage from the 60s. The Beatles had a better visual when they played Shea Stadium, for Christ's sakes, than we saw on Kellyn Acosta's handball in the box.
Listen, I get to bring back my favorite hashtag, except this is a different version of it. Blame Philly. Not you. Not
PH,
you.
Not Fox.
There you go. Because
Papa
we're
Hotel, not Foxtrot.
Yeah, there you go. We are at Subaru Park, not at Bank. I think that's like $2 in the jar. I almost said the whole thing. We are at Subaru Park, not at BMO Stadium. That's why you couldn't see a clear view of it, because we're in Philadelphia. I don't even know if they have 4K television in Philadelphia yet, but either way.
They're building it now.
Either way, man. Daniel Gazdag steps up, and spoiler alert, before the PK, he was 13 for 13. After the PK, He's 14 for 14. The dude is just stone cold.
Well, we can't say he's completely stone cold because, mind you, he did slip during his attempt during the MLS Cup final.
Aha, very true. Aha. He's 14 for 14 as ones that would count for goals all by themselves in his Philadelphia Union career. 1-0 down in the 86th minute. Now, Philadelphia Union played Atlas, and they got an 89th minute PK in their first leg to go up 1-0. Here they get an 86th minute PK, and there may, before the Steve Cherundolo era, have been versions of this black and gold squad that would have said, damn it, you know what? We tried real hard. We fought for 86. We gave up one late. Let's try and steal a win back home. Not this version of your black and gold. No, sir. 5 minutes of stoppage time, but LAFC would only need one. And it was Kellyn Acosta. Now, look, you probably had a better look at the play than I did, but Philadelphia Union go to clear that ball. Who does that ball bang off of the Philadelphia Union so that ball stays in? Did you happen to see the player that ball bangs off of? If only we had maybe, I don't know, a video showing the footage of what happened in this moment.
Dexter, the bounces off the flock and it's held in. Bogusz for Tillman. Tillman into the middle. Acosta lane running to goal. Kellyn Acosta. It was his handball that led to the penalty. It's his goal that ties it up in stoppage time.
I believe the answer was Leon Flock, because our good man, not Stu Holden. Oh, God, what's the other guy's name? I'm so bad at this.
John Strong.
Thank you. John Strong is the one that talks about ball goes off of Leon Flock, that assist poacher, Denny Bawanga, taking one away from Mateusz Bogusz, who really did do some wonderful things on that play. It would have been Mateusz Bogusz to Timothy Tillman to Kellyn Acosta. The GOAT becomes the hero very quickly. And just like that, it's 1-1, and we've got ourselves, more importantly, Philly, an away goal.
At some point, it got pretty quiet in there where, not quiet, it was pretty loud, where you clearly heard the Philadelphia Union fans yelling something that rhymes with Buck LA. Joke's on you. Now, Scarf, you are a teacher of history and Latin, but at some point in your life, I know you studied history. History was my favorite subject, believe it or not. And what do they say about history, Scarf?
Sometimes it has a tendency to repeat itself, my friend.
And to the victor goes the spoils. If there's anything we can say about Jim Curtin and the Philadelphia Union, is this: you can't sleep on LAFC. Look at what happened to you during the MLS Cup final. You thought you had it in the bag, and then Gareth Bale said, up yours, Union. Kellyn Acosta, well, arguably would have been the object of a lot of negative banter, came up clutch. He basically said, up yours again, Jim Curtin and the Philadelphia Union. Don't sleep on LAFC. This right here was such a relief. I can tell you, yet again, we played a piss-poor game collectively as a team, with the exception of John McCarthy. But yet, even in our worst, Scarf, even when we play absolutely abysmal, we either find a way to win or get ourselves a tie, which is the case here. Don't ever sleep on the defending MLS Cup champions, because it's going to come back to bite you in the ass, and bite Andre Blake in the ass. It did. Kellyn Acosta, thank you, God. Yes.
Yeah, look, that so many things about that play too, right? I mean, look, and I'll say this: it took a fluke, it took a poor mental decision by Kellyn Acosta, a handball, for them to even get a goal in this match. As poorly as we played, I really thought our emergency defending, our scramble defending, and our 1v1 help defending, those keys are what kept it for pretty much being a clean sheet. Look, if not for the PK, we walk out of here with a clean sheet. If not for Kellyn Acosta's arm getting away from his body on the Zapruder footage that we had, then it's 1-0. And I think that really does speak volumes. There was no Giorgio Chiellini on that back line tonight, and still Aaron Long played very, very well from 95% of this match. Jesus David Murillo's got spun around a couple of times. There's going to be some things that Maria is going to want to address.
I think he played fairly solidly. A lot of points, Scarf. Like, he was
I
all over
do.
Ua.
No, I do too, but I think there were just some times where he got beat, whether it was Carranza that caused a little bit of trouble for him a few times. But at the end of the day, we're looking at a club that scored a ton of goals last year, that seems to be righting their ship at the right time. We mentioned, actually, I don't think we mentioned it in this episode. Their last match was a 4-2 drubbing of Bob's boys from Toronto. And look,
boys
I get
put
it.
2 goals in the net themselves.
I get it. They're not a very good team, but still, it's the psychology of seeing the ball go into the back of the net. Ua had how many of the 4 the last time they played? They had 3. So Ua all of a sudden on a hat trick, seeing the ball, being comfortable, Julian Carranza getting off the schneid, doing things that he needs to be doing. It's still Daniel Gazdag, who you know is an assassin from the penalty spot. And yet, 1-1, LAFC getting a crucial away goal. And look, this is big. Now the impetus, the onus is all on the Philadelphia Union. They have to come in and at least score a goal to put it to PKs. 1-1 will not do it for them. They can't advance by drawing us 1-1 at home at BMO. They've got to either beat us or they're going to draw us to penalty kicks unless the match ends 0-0. Because if the match ends 0-0, we have the away goal tiebreaker. I don't think there's a snowball's chance that this match will end 0-0 at BMO. I don't think it'll happen. But if it does, we're off to the finals.
I'm good with that. Again, I've never been so relieved to walk out with a with a tie. And somewhere in Pig's Knuckle, Arkansas, Joe Sixpack just awoke to anger and is cracking open his old Milwaukee. Continue to pet your pig, Joe Sixpack. I don't care. 1-1 was a fine result. The performance of the team, not great. Steve said that himself, and I'm stealing his line. He was pleased with the outcome, not pleased with the performance or the result or something of that nature. They did not play well. This isn't a game that LAFC deserved to walk away from. But I said it earlier. This is the making of it still a championship team. If you can play your absolute worst and continue to be effective, beating your arch rival while not playing a great game, tying the MLS Cup runners up. I mean, this is a much better team than we can possibly imagine. But I do think changes need to be made. I don't think Jose Cifuentes should start the next leg of the game. I think this is now Timothy Tillman's job. Timothy Tillman in the 88th minute are one of those. Did you see the moves that he put on his defender? Put him on ice skates on a couple of occasions. He should get credited for at least the hockey assist to Kellyn Acosta, because it was his ball in the box that just fortunately bounced off of Denis, which landed to Kellyn, which fortunately landed in a weird way, but still passed Andre Blake. Timothy Tillman is my starter, along with Ilie Sanchez and Kellyn Acosta. That's the key. Our midfield did not play very well, but you are right. Timothy Tillman is the best midfielder we have as of right now in these last few games.
So Leon Flock was the defender that he put on ice skates. But can we go back on what map do you find Pig one more time? Pig Knuckle, Arkansas?
Pig's Knuckle, Arkansas. I don't know.
For those of you watching,
it's not like I rehearsed this, man. I just said Joe Sixpack, and where would he be from? I don't know. Pig's Knuckle, Arkansas. That sounded right.
For those of you watching on YouTube, I was speechless. I was in tears. I'm laughing at Pig's Knuckle, Arkansas. I would like to apologize to the good people from Pig's Knuckle, Arkansas. We know you're big fans of the show. We appreciate you listening. Both of you on your transistor radio, please don't turn us off.
With your cumulative 4 teeth.
Oh, man. Philly's just digging holes all over Pig's Knuckle, Arkansas right now. Look, we close out our semifinals, the second leg of the CONCACAF Champions League at BMO Stadium versus the Union on Tuesday, May 2nd. That's right. circle your calendars. Dos de Mayo, as they call it down here in front of the Scarf Wall in beautiful Lawndale, California. May 2nd. It's going to be a lot of fun. I would like to share my observation now, Philly. Ready?
Sure.
LAFC has a talent problem. That's right. LAFC has a talent problem, but it's the exact opposite of the talent problem we thought we had at the beginning of the season when we lost Chicho Arango, Christian Teo, Gareth Bale, Sebastian Ibeaga. Our midfielder. Oh my God, I'm blanking on our midfielder. That played very, very well in the World Cup. We could no longer afford him. Oh my God. I've gone on complete brain fart.
Seba Mendes.
Thank you, Sebastian Mendes. God, where the hell that went to? We lost Franco Escobar. We lost a ton of talent in the
Happy birthday to him, by the way.
Yeah, happy birthday, Franco Escobar. We lost a ton of talent in the
Seba
offseason.
Mendes. I'm sorry, not Franco Escobar.
Oh, happy birthday, Seba. We have a talent problem now, Philly. And that's that we have an embarrassment of talent on this club right now. We went into this match highlighting the incredible talent that the starting 11 and maybe a few of the 18 have for the Philadelphia Union. But you imagine subbing out Mahalo Opoku and Carlos Vela, and dare I say, at least staying as effective, if not getting more effective on the attack by putting in a 20-year-old and a 21-year-old in Stipe Buke and Mateus Bogusz. You imagine subbing out Jose Cifuentes, who over the course of the last 2 seasons might have been our most lethal offensive player in the midfield and certainly one of the top 5 or 6 midfielders in all of Major League Soccer. What about losing guys like Eddie Segura and Sebastian Ibeaga? Now, we haven't lost Eddie in terms of he's gone anywhere. He's just no longer playing for us, apparently. Someone give us some news on Eddie Segura. And yet being able to replace him with U.S. men's national team caliber defender, and we're seeing it more and more now, Aaron Long, and a player who, by the way, has come over and played a hell of a back line himself in Daniel Maldonado, with Sergi Palencia being able to replace Ryan Hollingshead and even move up and at times over to Chiqui Palacios' side, with the homegrown kid finally coming up and paying dividends in Eric Duenas. It seems like it's not just next man up mentality. It's that you earn your minutes when you come on here and you have to perform well. Otherwise, you have what you rightly termed as a major problem for Jose Cifuentes moving forward. Or you have a major problem for Maxime Crepeau moving forward. What do you do when the guys who are next man up start to outplay you? The talent level on this club right now is absolutely ridiculous. Let's be honest. The only reason why we have 1 loss on the season of any kind is because we kind of took our foot off the gas over the last 30 minutes of that leg against Alajuelense. Otherwise, we're talking about being unbeaten in all competitions, in all formats, in all matches. LAFC has a talent problem, and it is a damn good one.
I got nothing to top that with. I mean, I gave the millions.
And millions.
Pig's Knuckle, Arkansas, and you just gave them that brilliance. So there's really not much that I have to say. I do think we should at least throw the final stats on there just so people can see.
You do that while I laugh about Pig's Knuckle, Arkansas. Oh my God.
Yeah, Pig's Knuckle, Arkansas. Real quick, the picture.
Favorite city.
Very stinking even, by the way.
Yeah.
Very stinking even between these two teams. And what do you expect? The last time LAFC strolled into the city of brotherly love, same exact result back in 2019.
Wait,
September
go
of 2019.
Go back. Put it back up for 1 second. I have one small complaint to our
From what
art.
I hear, you have many small.
To our art department, to whoever put this up, just put the crest of the club whose stats they are above the stats, if you don't mind, because I know it's listed Philadelphia versus LA And so that should be left is Philadelphia, right is just put him a little closer.
That's not producer McPandas, y'all. That's
no. I know that's
CONCACAF.
LAFC. That's LAFC. That's CONCACAF. That's whomever. But I mean, look at that. Even number of shots, even number of fouls, even number of yellow cards. Just yeesh, what a match. And look, I would love to see, and someone out there who's better at compiling all these stats, and it's 11:29 on a Wednesday, so I'm going to get up in like 6 hours and go teach something soon. But I would love to see the stats from literally all of our matches together, the aggregate composite of all of our shots, all of our fouls. That'd be kind of fun to see where we're at going into this second leg. It doesn't matter. Philly, we're on to BMO next week, next Tuesday, May 2nd. It's going to be a raucous atmosphere. I can't wait to hear, see, feel, experience the chorus of the black and gold, the 3252, the 22,000 that fill BMO Stadium, and of course, the millions.
And millions.
As we roll straight through the Philadelphia Union on our way to the finals. And what I am hoping for is a rematch with Gignac and Tigres, and we win the whole damn thing. Philly, we kept it like 25 minutes shorter than last episode.
Amen to that. I think producer McPandas wanted to post something. Not sure if we're gonna. Oh, okay. So real quick, let me preface this real quick.
Oh,
so who you're looking at, folks, is the head of. And hold on, let me just get rid of this. This little banner, Jammy. That's the president of UEFA, Alexander Seferin, and he was asked earlier on about VAR and handballs, and this is the president of UEFA talking about a handball. So we go into these controversial moments. Producer McPandas, play what Alex C had to say about handballs.
Handball, nobody in the world understands when there's handball or not. We had the best coaches in the world in the room. We showed them a situation where a ball hits the hand of a player, and we said penalty or no penalty. Half said penalty, half said no penalty. Those are coaches of the best teams in the world. I think that the referee on the pitch should decide, because otherwise we don't need a referee anymore. We can just have a machine that says handball or no handball.
We have the best producer in the history of podcasts. Thank you, producer McPandas, for finding that video. Look, if the head of UEFA says this on the Men in Blazers show, shout out to Raj and Davo. We got to hang out with Davo at BMO. Then how the hell are knuckleheads like Philly in the Scarf supposed to dictate what handball is? Kind of crazy if you think about it.
It certainly makes it a whole hell of a lot harder when you're shooting it on 8mm film in Philadelphia from the stands too. So
yeah, seriously, are they going to put this in their microfiche library? Come on, Philly. Ooh. We know your Liberty Bell is cracked. Not everything in your city can be cracked.
Yeah, Philly. Oh, you meant never mind. All right, you guys know how we like to end all of our episodes. This is episode 244 of the Most LAFC podcast on the Defenders of the Bank, and we would like to say to you,
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Take us up.